Morning, everybody. 8:12 a.m. It is November 29th. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Crazy, crazy market we are in. All right. Um, Yesterday, you had kind of balanced rules happen, right? Couldn't go lower in the open, like early on, and then we rocketed higher, right? Expected a big move, like I said. We had the most traded price of the month and the week equal. I said that would make a large move. We did make the large move. However, then we took it all back, which would have been a look above and fail, and went all the way back down to the lows. And now we're gapping up. So just nuts, crazy markets. I can't stress that enough. I mean, if you would have got faked out yesterday very easily. All right. So very volatile. Now we're gapping up. Right. Markets are looking strong. Bond market is pushing up. Gold is well over 2K. Just craziness. VIX is down. Really, really crazy. This market has not given any weakness at all. You wanted to go short. You're getting hurt right now. We are in supply, so let's get into this. Welcome to my channel. My name is Steven Gonzalez. I use market profile and buying profile to find structure in the market. Also use gamma exposure levels, supply and demand, and the most traded price of the year, the month, the week, and the preceding day. All to find structure in this crazy market. Okay. Right now, obviously, structure favors the bulls. It has been for a while now. So that's just been the case. All right. So, without further ado, if you like to subscribe and set an alert. Okay. If you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up or a like. That would help me out. You can always follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay. Now we're going to get right into the futures watch list to see what's going on here. All right. So crude starting to catch a bid. Okay. I'm looking at this level at 78.03, I believe, a barrel is the most traded price of the last year and this year. I'm looking for the market to take that back, and we'll see. Okay, because OPEC meetings, looking at cuts. If they do cut, I expect, you know, a nice little rally. We'll have to see. All right, Russell's up 1.15%. Nasdaq's up 0.64. ES is up 0.5. 30-year bonds being bought. That should send the 10-year yield lower. Okay. Dow's up 0.36. Silver's up 0.13. Gold's up 0.09. Gold over 2K holding. Gapped up yesterday. Okay. The dollar is up 0.08. Dollar's been smacked down. Okay. It hit that level that I talked about yesterday. I believe it was 102.76. So Bitcoin's pretty much slightly down 0.14. Ether's down 0.40. Look at that VIX down 0.87. We're under 13. Not a lot of fear in this market. Okay. Moving on. Stocks I like to swing in day trade. Okay. Snow. Snow. The earnings coming up. Earnings are today for Snow. All right. So they're up 2.16%. Tesla, boy, got the move. Tesla is definitely moving higher, up 1.25. They're also having a Cybertruck announcement or showing today. AMD up 1.18. Coin has just been an absolute monster, up 1.04%. It was hit 130 earlier. Okay, Roblox, that's at a huge. That's above that 39 is a huge positive gamma level. Nvidia held that 477 level yesterday. Okay, or 475 was the negative gamma level to hold, but 477 was a level that it just couldn't break. Okay, Amazon, let's see here. Apple just showing its relative weakness, right? Only up 0.10. Baba's getting smacked down 2.19%. Okay, moving on to the top sector stocks. Salesforce reports earnings. They're up 1.28%. Qualcomm's up 0.73. Morgan Stanley's up 0.48. Go to the laggards. We got Goldman Sachs. Now, Goldman Sachs is down because Apple is going to discontinue using their credit card. So that's negative for Goldman Sachs. Home Depot is down 0.52. United Healthcare is down 0.93. They just mentioned that they're going to have higher medical costs, but it's going to be okay. They were coiling. They pushed up a little bit. They've been just a monster. So I expect some rest, some a little pullback in UNH. Okay. Moving on to sectors. Semiconductors almost up 1%. Obviously, we know who they are: Nvidia, AMD, Qualcomm. All right. XLY. Here's the one that was interested in my weekend video. XLY needed to break 169 and hold it. It is doing that with the help of Tesla and Amazon. That was a coiling sector. Okay. Energy's up 0.8. Then real estate. Now, the ones that were very strong that I said I expected a pullback was financials, right? And healthcare. Healthcare's got that pullback. Okay. Now, United Healthcare down 1%. That's going to have some weakness in healthcare. That's going to push the Dow down because that's the number one holding in the Dow. Okay. It's the largest weight in the Dow. And Goldman Sachs is a large weight in the Dow. So the Dow should show weakness, a little bit of weakness compared to the other indexes, which it is. It is the weakest right now. Staples is flat. There's really no lagging sector per se. Okay. We can get into some economic calendar. Okay. Let's do that. Today, what do we expect? We got GDP growth rate, corporate profits, GDP price index quarter for quarter, retail inventories, X autos, wholesale inventories. That's what we have dropping at 8:30. We had Fed Mester today talking. All right, and we have crude inventories at 10:30. Okay, that should be very important for crude. All right, if it shows, let's see, it's expecting a draw. That would make, generally, a draw would make crude go higher. But they had a huge surplus previously, 8.7 million barrels per gallon. Tomorrow is big with the core PCE and jobless claims. Okay, Chicago PMI, pending home sale. There's a bunch of pretty significant news tomorrow, and then of course Friday is Powell speaking. Okay. On some news fronts, let's see. Of course, Charlie Munger passed away at 99. GameStop shares climb on strong volume. That's pretty much what I wanted to talk about there. Everybody right now, what's going on is these Feds with this dovish talk is surging bond yields. I'm sorry, bonds are surging for the best month they've had in November. I think it's the best month they've ever had. I don't want to be quoted on that, but it's pretty significant buying in bonds, which are sending yields lower. And then with cuts, talking about next year, people are start pricing in. Okay, that's what's going on right now. That's the story. All right. Let's see what's going on here. If there's anything to note. Let's just look up pre-market some stocks. We got General Motors. Stock rose 8.9% after Auto Giant reinstated. Oh yeah, it did buybacks today. Dollar Tree stock fell. Foot Locker stock soared 9.1 over Athletic Apparel. CrowdStrike rose 2.4. So a lot of good news today. Workday rose 8.6. Las Vegas Sands stock fell 14.2 if the casino operator announced its largest shareholder, Miriam Adelson, selling 2 billion of her shares. GameStop stock rose over 10%, with distressed video game retailers seemingly once more in demand, as indicated by surging volume options trading. All right, so that's what's going on there. Let's look at that indicator I was talking about the other day, which, like I said, doesn't. That's not what I'm looking for here. Hold on. That's not what I want to show you guys. Let's go to this right here. All right, so now interesting that this is the S&P 500, right? This is the SPX up here, and we did. Every time you hit 90, you usually get a little pullback. We're not seeing it yet, but you see some stocks now we're down to 84% over their 20 simple moving average on a daily. So we have to see if this actually happens, because I said in the past, every time you hit around 90, you get a pullback. Okay, stocks gapping up now, right? So this is, like I said, this is not an end all be all indicator. It just shows you're getting some pullback in this percentage of stocks that are over the 2020. Let's just see. I mean, we're definitely still overbought, but that doesn't mean you still can't go up, right? That's how the market works. When you think things can't happen, they do. That's how the market fools everybody, and that's why it's such an amazing but frustrating thing sometimes. Okay. Let's get out of here. Let's go straight into daily charts. All right. Let's go straight into those daily charts. Let's look at these together. All right. So yesterday, we ramped up here in the SPY and then moved sideways, right? And then we had this trend line that we touched the day before, and we broke that trend line yesterday, right? And yesterday we closed right here, right in the middle of balance, right? And this is last week's highs and lows. Well, where are we at now? 457, right? So we're gapping up. We're above last week's highs. We're around here right now. Okay. So I'm not looking to go long of anything. You can get a possible pullback to 456, and that could possibly, that's the pullback to look for. Okay. Because there's not much to report here. Not much to really, there's not much nuance here. Now, if you look to the left, you do see a prior month high right here at 457.2. Okay, we're above that right now. And then you have a previous, let's see here, this year's highs at 459.44. Right, are we headed there? I don't know. Should be interesting, right? All right, moving on to the Qs. The Qs, basically we're in sideways here. Look, and then we're inside last week's, but the Qs right now are at 392.87. So we're right. 392.87 is almost at last week's highs. Okay. Now we're already set highs for this year, and we're just been coiling, right? So that's the story. What do we do? What do we do? Do we hit this and pull back? I don't know. We are due for some type of correction. I mean, this move is pretty ridiculous. I mean, look, from rocketing up 1, 2, 3, not that many down days, right? But like I said, the market could be irrational. So we're going to get a correction or a pullback. We don't know when. Nobody knows when, right? So that's what's going on right now in those. Now we get to the big boys, and that was the daily charts, right? Now we get to my triple-headed monster, which the VIX is no monster right now, showing no fear. Okay, let's look at that 10-year yield, because that's really, really, really important. Okay, now importantly, is that even a word? Let's look at this. Okay, this is gapping down. Okay, 10-year yield is at 4.29. Okay, now if I said look to the left, I said this 4.36 was prior resistance. Okay, we just blew through that. Okay, gap down. Our next move is to 4.2. Okay, this is fueling this market rally. Okay, the longer these yields go down, the market usually does the inverse, right? People are buying bonds. Buying bonds turns the yields lower. A lower yield is good for tech stocks, especially. Okay, but just overall, general, the market, equities. Okay, so let's move over to the VIX. VIX is dead. All right, we're at 12. Okay, there's no fear in this market right now. Now the dollar is the big component of this triple head monster. Look what we did. We hit this 102.71, like I talked about, right? Big. That was a pretty level of support right here. We cracked it. Now we're kind of hovering below. We have a double top right here. Okay, this is last week's. Let's zoom in here. This is last week's lows, and you're getting resistance at last week's lows. So, next level to look at is probably 101.73 right here. Prior month's highs right here. I'm sorry, prior month's lows right there. Now you have a pretty pretty fierce decline in the dollar. So, but again, right? The market's rising, the dollar's falling, and yields are falling. So everything's working in concert like they're supposed to. All right, let's go on to the market profile and structure and find out what exactly is going on right now in this market. Okay. All right, so we're gapping up after yesterday's wild session. We're gapping up. All right, so let's look at our profile. Now we have excess at the top here from this breakout. Excess at the bottom, right? This, like I told you guys yesterday, 45.65 was the most traded price of the month and the week. And I said if we go past that, it's going to cause a big move, right? Well, we got that once we pushed up into this supply, but then we revert. Oh man, this is getting some serious buying. And then we came all the way back down, and then we closed here, right? So this still was in play, and now we're getting that right here. This move right now is why when you have the most traded prices here, you're going to get a big move. It's just a matter of when. Is this the last move? And then we get a correction? I don't know. Okay? I don't know, but this is bullish. Okay, you have a long consolidation here. And now we're breaking out. Everybody might have thought this was the breakout, but it wasn't. It was a failed one. And this could be the real McCoy, but who knows? We'll keep pushing higher, you can see. Okay? So, let's talk about this and what I'm seeing here. Now, one thing there is here, we have to look at this. Okay, overnight inventory. This is the only short activity to this much long activity, and we're at the top of the range. Okay, gapping up. Now, it's the first move really up higher out of this. You thought this was, but this is really a big move. You're gapping up. Okay, but you're close to 100% net long right now. All right, so if you stay up here, and you can't break out of the supply, this could be a possible fade. Not the easiest trade, but it could be a possible fade. Okay, that's one thing. Second thing to note is you have a weak low here. Okay, so notice this big level, 42.65. What does that line up with? Overnight lows. Okay, the most traded price at the overnight is right here. These are all longs. Okay, everybody's long from the lows yesterday. So if this price comes back in and you take this out and you hold, we're going to go down and test the bottom of these lows. Okay, and this could be pretty nasty reversal if this happens. You can go all the way down to this demand zone around 45.25 maybe. Okay, that's just a scenario. I'm not saying that happens. Okay, because this market is very frothy. Okay, so that's that weak low. Now also, that doesn't mean that, this just means if it breaks and holds, we're going lower, right? However, if it holds, that's the pullback, right? So let's get into a scenario. All right, let's look at the bullish case. You got a bullish structure, you gotta look for the bullish case. Okay, now here's the gap fill. So here's yesterday's highs. Okay, here's yesterday's lows. Here's the overnight low. Here's the overnight high. Okay, we're gapping up. So let's talk about gap rules real quick. The most strong is a gap and go, right? Second is a failure to fill the gap and you go. Third is a fill the gap and you go, right? Those all shows buyers in control. That's what that shows, buyers in control. All right. Now, however, if you start to go back into range, that means that the buyers aren't as strong, right? So that's what you have to look for, engage, because large gap ups are not easy to deal with. Okay, but let's talk about it. So obviously, a scenario definitely could happen what I just showed you. So that fill in the gap would be right here, and if it holds, obviously we could start to make, test this naked VPOC up there and the edge of supply. Okay. Also, here is this area of defense. It's the top of the breakout. It's the most traded price of the month and the week. Okay, you got demand zones here. You got the close of yesterday. This is very key for the market to defend. If we come back in here and sellers think that they got something, it could be a little bear trap, and this could be the launch point. Okay, that's how I have to look at this. Okay, conversely, we got the bear scenario, right? I already talked about we're 100% net long right now, and we're at the top of the session. People tend to want to take profit. Okay, so bearish scenario, we push up a little bit, and now say this is the open, and if you come through the open, if people want to short that, it's not easy to do, but you're probably going to work yourself down to this area. Okay, now remember, I said this could be defended by bulls. It's going to go higher, but this is the bearish scenario. If it breaks, holds, we're definitely going to go down, test the bottom of this bracket low, and then if that breaks, you're probably going down all the way down to probably here. Okay, yet to be seen though, right? It's only scenarios. I'm not predicting anything. It's just that if this happens, then this might happen. That's all I do. Okay, now let's look at the NASDAQ together. Okay, let's move this down a little bit. Let's look at structure. All right, so this is this week's profile. We got nice excess at the top. Okay, we were in balance. All right, you had all these highs that just got taken out right now, pre-market, right up here. All right, now we hit, if you notice, you look to the left, see this high right here? It's the start of supply. That was resistance once, and it just became resistance again. So that becomes a weak high, and that could be a potential point to break out higher, or like it just did, it could continue to be resistance, right? So that's something important to note. Now again, we're above all major levels. Okay, broke out. Now we're gapping up, pretty large gap. Okay, right now the IWM is the biggest. It's up 1%. Now that was coiling, right? Big time. So that IWM is pretty strong, and then next is the Qs. Okay, so this is a pretty big gap. So here's the gap. Here's the RTH high yesterday. Here's the RTH low. Okay, overnight low. Okay, and right under that overnight low is the most traded price of the week here. Little different though. See how it's not as like if you drop below the overnight low, you still have this. So it's not as great as a week low as you have in the ES, but it is a week low because you have the close here and you have the overnight low, right? And let's just see. Let's see if you drop below that, that could be danger for the Nasdaq. But again, this is the gap fill right here. Now, the one thing about this one is you do have, here's the open, here's short activity, here's long activity, so you are pretty frothy, about a 95% net long. You could even call it almost 100%, and we're at the top third of the range. You just hit supply, you just hit this resistance, right? So you could be a fade again in this market. Now this is a pretty big gap, so you want to look at the midpoint also, this 16107. That's like the 50% retracement of this overnight. So that could be a point to look at. If you dip below that, you can get a little weakness. Okay. But what you do have is this gap fill lines right up with the most traded price of the overnight and this demand zone, which could be a pullback. Okay. That's what I'm really looking at. We can get into scenarios right now, and I'm going to wrap it up. So let's talk about it. All right, so let's look at this as the scenarios. All right, sorry about that. Let's get this done. These scenarios, pretty much very similar. Okay, got our gap fill here. So if you're bullish, you just want to see this defended, this gap. Right? You can come in, hold this demand, and then may possibly break this weak high and drive up into this naked VPOC right there. Okay, that's kind of like defense number one for the bulls. Okay. Now, as far as a bearish scenario, obviously, you got the 100% net long. Pretty much you're at the top of the range. You also hit a resistance point already. You have supply up here. So like I said, if you opened and pushed up a little bit, that could cause lower high, and then we could fall. Like I said, in the bullish thing, you can definitely get buyers coming here. But if you knock this out, that demand out, and you take us out, this is the real test. If it cuts through the most traded price, we're gonna go down and test this low right here. Okay, this is really going to be the test. If it breaks it, you have a lot of demand here, but it can really chew through a bunch of this and go down to here at least. Again, I don't know if that happens, but that's pretty nasty because this would be a look above and fail, and you just traverse the range. Okay, that's what I'm going to leave you guys with. All right. So hope everybody enjoyed that. Subscribe, set an alert if you did. All right. You can also give me a big like, thumbs up. That would help me out. All right. And as always, you can follow me on X at Gonzo719. Okay. I wish everybody good luck today. Stay green. Stay patient. Large gaps are very hard to read. So, like I said, that fade that I'm talking about is not an easy trade. However, could happen, right? Alrighty. I'll see you guys tomorrow.